must change your heart. Because you cannot move out if you don't have a changed heart. By the word of God, everything is created. God wants you to speak the word so that things can be created. Say to your neighbor, created.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Good evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Isai Sipunga. In the news tonight, Ngipunya bail hearing continues. LPM leader applauds Ngipunya for dropping bombshells at Fishrod bail hearing. Praloloka Aid Support and Kindness Soup Kitchen continues to feed the vulnerable. Planting watermelons changed my life, says local farmer. And Roundup, Business on One, Comments Corner, Sports and the weather. First up, during the fifth day of the bail hearing of the Fishrod accused, the lawyer representing Mike Ngipunya objected to hearsay evidence from witnesses on the case, noting that such a statement should be put before the court, to which State Prosecutor Cliff Lutibezi argued that hearsay evidence can only be disputed once it has been put to the accused.
The difficulty that we face when they bring a statement of Mr. X. In fact, at that stage, they have not even identified who this Mr. X or Mrs. X is. They just said there is a witness. There are witnesses in the documents that may say one or two or other things. We object because, first of all, it's very vague. It does not inform the witness sufficiently. Even that statement itself has not even put to the witness so that the witness can also read it and find out whether they are summarizing, is it in context, is it in every, does this witness qualify what they are going to say, etc. And therefore we say, in the unique proceedings that are facing his lordship, if there is a witness that says he was seen, for example, working in figures of 8 on a particular day, how does that help the court in this particular inquiry? Because that witness is not going to be called to come and testify before the honorable court. And we say that question, my lord, is very unfair.
If one looks at the judgment of Charlotte Helena Porter, it says that although hearsay can be admitted in bail application, such hearsay can carry little weight, if any, and should not be relied on when disputed. So in actual fact, this judgment reaffirms that hearsay evidence is in fact admissible. But at the end of the day, once the court has all the facts before it, the court knows what has been disputed and what has been admitted, it's now for the court to decide what to do with that hearsay evidence.
The state prosecutor further cross-examined Ngipunya on Wanakado investment CC payments that were made and distributed to various companies, to which Ngipunya testified that it's not his responsibility to follow up on the distribution of funds.
How Wanakado distributed or bought or paid those funds over, it's really not for me to be able to attest to or anything of the sort, because every day of our business we buy from different companies, and I really don't go follow up who they deal with after that and stuff. So, but I'm just trying to understand what is the council getting to, because I don't want to confirm people's interest or who have interest, because it has nothing to do with me.
Ngipunya further testified that he first learned about Wanakado when its owner, co-accused Philippus Mapopi, introduced the company to him and expressed interest to supply Fishco with fishing products, adding that he has only known his co-accused, Mr. Mapopi, on a social level, further adding that he has no interest in Wanakado Investment CC, to which the state revealed a memorandum of agreement document between Ngipunya and Mapopi.
And Mr. Ngipunya, what interest do you have in Wanakado Investment CC?
I have indicated before that I don't have any interest in Wanakado CC.
All right. Can you go to page 283 of the state's disclosed documents, not the audit, not the forensic report, the disclosed documents. Now, the information that we have from page 114 of the audit report is that this document was retrieved from Mr. Ngipunya's Fishco Dell XPS 2720 desktop computer. This is where this document comes from. The computer they've identified as yours. This particular document is titled Memorandum of Agreement entered into between Mike Ngipunya with the ID number 840720101154. You see that? What is your ID number, Mr. Ngipunya?
That sounds like my ID number, yes?
Sounds like
Is it yours or it sounds?
Yes, that's my ID number.
your ID number.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The agreement is between Mr. Ngipunya and Mr. Philippus Mapopi, ID number 8502121058. You see that?
Yes.
And the title of that agreement, in respect of the ownership of Wanakado Investment CC, registration number CC 2016-05298, and utilization of revenues received or generated by this entity. That is the title of the document, yeah?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Can we go to the last page of this memorandum of agreement? There's a signature that appears there, yes?
That's correct.
Whose signature is it?
Looks, that's my signature.
Oh, okay. And this document is also initialed on each page, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Whose initial?
My initials.
Your initials. All right. If we go to the introduction, paragraph 1, it reads that Mapopi and Mike agreed to register a company, Wanakado Investment, with Mapopi as the sole shareholder, representing the interests of both parties on a 50-50 basis for the proceeds of the company. That is what is there.
That's correct.
Hi there, parents. Do you have primary school kids and want them to get extra quality supplementary lessons to up their grades? Then simply switch to One Africa TV's #LearnOn1, where your kids can get maths, English and science lessons every weekday from 9 to 11 a.m. with repeats from 2 to 4 p.m. And thanks to NMH's MyZone, these lessons are 100% Namibian. There's so much to learn with #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
The LPM leader Bernardo Swartboy called for a press conference where he raised concern for the safety and well-being of Mike Ngipunya for revelations made in the bail hearing. While facing questions from the state prosecutor, Ngipunya alleged that the ruling party SWAPO gained tens of millions of Namibia dollars from fishing quotas for election campaigns.
The Landless People's Movement leader Bernardo Swartboy has taken his hat off for Mike Ngipunya, one of the accused suspects in the #Fish Rod scandal, who is currently in court for a bail hearing which started this week. Swartboy at a press conference stated that Ngipunya confirmed what was already known to many.
Who was brave enough to speak about his experiences and the instructions that he claims to have been given by James Atupilipi to pay out the amounts of money, not only through Caesar's company, we're told, but through de Klerk Horn law firm. And I thought it was important for him to come out strongly and very clearly about who also the beneficiary was. And he said it quite clearly that SWAPO Party was the beneficiary, and the source was at least about 18,000 metric tons of fish that were channeled through Fish Corps, certainly at the instructions of the Minister of Fisheries, who acts on the instructions of the head of state to ensure that those specific resources are retained for the purposes of financing SWAPO's campaign. So it basically confirms the principle of state capture and how state resources are used to keep SWAPO in power. But after keeping and taking the elections for itself, SWAPO then also has individual leaders that reward themselves over and above keeping SWAPO in power from state resources. So what the former CEO has done is to basically confirm what we have known, but what nobody was prepared to speak about. And I can only say to him that he did well. Of course, he's trying to save his own skin. Since the revelations, he has also left SWAPO, I'm told. I would just urge him to be careful and take care of himself and his family, because the beast may come to visit him, and we do not want to find him to become late Mr. Ngipunya, because that is the SWAPO trademark if you don't take care of yourself after hitting them.
Swartboy further said that Namibia might not see SWAPO and other alleged looters being prosecuted because, according to him, agencies responsible for conducting a thorough investigation on the case will not act on evidence. In addition, he said that is why some of the individuals that have been implicated remain free.
Even if it were to be done, the results of whatever inquiry was undertaken will never be released. So the difference between the ANC and SWAPO is that one has been more deliberative and has at least some inkling of democratic credentials and understands the respect for institutions. Here, it has entirely collapsed. I mean, when a head of state starts to wear military gear, and when he appoints Kapofi to Ministry of Defense, his former and most trusted confidant, and when you see that they're increasing veterans' salaries with the new budget, or the budget review that was tabled when they increased salaries of within the defense ministry, you can see, coupled with the fact that the ECN is basically a military-run institution, coupled with those things, you will see that they will never do a Zondo-style commission. The ombudsperson will also never rise to the occasion. The public prosecutor will just try by all means to merely zoom in on those that are already in prison, but she will never zoom out on broader indictments. She will never do it. The police will also never go into further investigations. In fact, it was very interesting that Mr. Noah from the ACC, who could even have been one of the people to ask for a Zondo-type commission, actually insists this morning still that they work apparently on incontrovertible evidence. Now, he is not even giving a commitment that he is going to search for more answers. He's also thinking perhaps that we are so stupid that Ngipunya's statements are of no value. The man made those statements of the 44 million plus that was transferred through Namanje and de Klerk's companies. He did so under oath. That must have great value for any investigation officer, including and in particular Mr. Noah, to say, hold on, perhaps now it's time to indict Caesar Namanje. Why is de Klerk on a run? Because there is a reality that he faces.
Swartboy further said that Namibians should stand up and fight for their country against those that are looting their resources.
Growth is walking side by side to open the future to new possibilities.
It means enabling Namibians to do more with all the new technologies that we introduce.
It's communicating so that all our stakeholders know what is possible for them on mobile, at home and in the office.
It's answering the calls for people's desire to improve their lives.
It is making sure that each share that people buy into provides value.
Providing a space where growth can happen, giving people freedom to expand their horizons.
In every way imaginable.
It is about increasing our capabilities and infrastructure so that Namibians can enjoy more connectivity as well as nature growth. It is indeed a future worth investing in.
We thank all Namibians for making our IPO a success. Thank you for showing that our future is worth investing in.
MTC, make the connection.
A Good Samaritan and her team at Walfish Bay have embarked on a food drive initiative for the underprivileged at the town in efforts to make sure that no child goes to bed hungry. Toya Lowe, who has been feeding children who lived at the Otoya settlement, says although they have moved into their new houses, food still remains a problem.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Toya Lowe and some friends started a soup kitchen for children in Cape in Narrowville at the beginning of the first lockdown in April 2020 in Walfish Bay, as many people were losing their jobs and could not longer feed their families. 2 months after she started the food program, a fire occurred at Twalaloka, now a Toya in Cape Walfish Bay, where hundreds of families lost their shelters. That is where the Twalaloka Aid, Support and Kindness, known as Task Soup Kitchen Project, came into force.
I had a friend that was doing yoga classes with me, Eileen, and she came up with the idea that we should start making soup for the children in the township, because we could see how so many people had lost their jobs, people who were unemployed overnight. So we started making food at home, and I got a couple of friends together and we cooked food, and then we took it out in the pots on the back of my landie out into the township and started feeding. And then about 2 months later, there was a massive fire in, as you know, in Twalaloka that destroyed all those shacks, and quite a few thousand people lost their homes.
Vulnerable children of the town have to come to know her familiar white Land Rover that visits on Monday, Wednesdays and Fridays. Apart from the buckets of warm soup, rice and bread, the children especially enjoy love and interaction from the group. Task has been feeding the vulnerable communities for over 8 months now, and the bond between the team and the children have become unbreakable.
It was from Monday to Friday. The church stepped in and helped us as well, the Catholic Church, and the Round Table stepped in and helped us. And then after the fire, and once everyone got settled into their tents, then we decided to continue, because we got to know the children, and we've been doing it ever since for 18 months, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Parents at the town expressed their appreciation towards Lowe, who they got to know over the past 8 months.
That woman has a heart of gold. They started giving us food when our shelters burned down. We did not have any stoves to cook on. They kept bringing food to us and others. When the children see the car, they just run towards it.
We are really grateful. There are days when you really do not have anything to eat, and you have hope because you can just give your plate and receive food.
400 children benefit from this initiative, and Lowe is appealing for more people to help with food, as she would like to feed the children more days per week.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
Early this morning, woke up holding my head, hearing my heartbeat all night long. Shades of this motel keeping me in bed, reading the news, just trying to stay strong. I need to just get up, take a deep breath, keep it together, 'cause it's a beautiful day.
Born and raised at Imukuzi village in the Zambezi region, Martin Sihamana, an ex-employee of Komeho Namibia Development Agency, acquired a 7-hectare land at his village in 2012 when his employment contract as an agriculture technician and training officer ended. Sihamana started practicing what he has taught many others in the agriculture sector as he started his mahangu and maize production.
Please don't just sit at home and wait for the government to give you the job. You can still do better. You can still also employ others by practicing what you have learned in school. That's just what you can see here. It was an example, but I have seen that you can still survive. I have now money, which I can also buy maybe some small seeds for next year and also to help myself here and there.
The journey was not easy, says Sihamana, as it took him years to clear the land because he did not have money to hire people to assist him. Apart from the mahangu and maize, he also started venturing into horticulture farming with cabbages and tomatoes. As his vegetable farming grew, Sihamana decided to add watermelons, which is now his main focus as he sells them at the local market. Since introducing watermelons on his farm, Sihamana says he sees himself producing more watermelons in the next season as it has improved his life tremendously. Despite his successes, Sihamana is faced with challenges such as monkeys eating his watermelons and that of water as he gets his water from the swamp that only has water during the rainy season. He also makes use of a water pump that is costly as it uses fuel because the water at the swamp is not good for human consumption. Sihamana has now one permanent worker and also get assistance from his family members who also benefit from his produce on the farm.
In other leading stories, Paratus Namibia has opened its new branch in the Oshana Mall on Gwediva. The new office will deliver on-the-ground service via Paratus Namibia's independent infrastructure to both businesses and an increasing consumer customer base in the area. Managing Director of Paratus Namibia, Andrew Hall, says their new office in Ongwediva will offer the entire Paratus product range from network connectivity to cloud solutions, from cabling to PBX services, adding that they have deployed mobile LTE, Sky-Fi and fiber in Ondangwa, Oshakati and Ongwediva and can now provide quality internet solutions to any customer on their own infrastructure. Currently, Paratus Namibia is investing approximately 10 million Namibia dollars per month on infrastructure expansion, which includes both fiber and a mobile LTE rollout. Heading the new Oshana outlet is branch manager Clarence Lampert, who said it's an exciting development as they can now give clients hands-on service in the region, adding that it is an important move for Paratus in delivering its promise of being Namibia's quality network and the most reliable service. Based in Windhoek, Paratus Namibia is part of the Paratus Group, which is the largest privately owned Pan-African network operator.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's Business on One and economic indicators.
Welcome to Business on One. I'm Joseph Shifeni. Just days after the Ministry of Mines and Energy increased the price of fuel for both petrol and diesel for the third month in a row, a number of organizations representing the public transport industry have said the adjustment not only affects their members but society at large as well. From the 3rd of November, the fuel pump prices increased by 50 cents for petrol and 70 cents for diesel. This comes as the Mines and Energy Ministry cited the ever-rising crude oil prices on the international market. Transport associations have condemned the increase, noting that they are not engaged for input as stakeholders. Wapingena Karuaera is from the Namibia Public Passenger Transport Association.
If we increase the price now, and from now to the end of the year, the price is going to go up. The price of fuel is going to go up 3-4 times. Are we going to go back to the ministry again and request an increment? I don't know. This is where we have to consult in advance and look at the benefit of what we are doing. We are going to put the community under pressure if we do that. So we have to be very careful in what we are trying to do.
NAPTA representative Vespa Munda is of the opinion that the rise in fuel prices is causing confusion among its members who could call for increases in taxi and bus fare nationwide.
What we need from the transport sector is to consult stakeholders. What we need is to consult stakeholders to make sure that the agreement, whether we are going to make it tomorrow and then next week another agreement and before December another agreement, that's not we want things to go. If they are going to have an agreement, we are going to write a letter of complaint that this is what we want. It's not a matter of COVID-19 issue. It's a matter of increasement of the fuel. That's all what we want. Whether the Minister of Mines and Energy is going to increase, we are going to do our level best to inform the Minister of Transport and all the relevant stakeholders in a proper manner. Not to create chaos for the operators, not to create chaos for the drivers, not to create chaos for the Minister of Transport, not to create chaos for the public.
The Line Ministry has assured industry players that even though fuel prices have been increasing in the last few months, the government will cover the under-recoveries on behalf of the fuel consumers. This would mean the National Energy Fund under the ministry spending over 120 million Namibia dollars for this purpose. Thank you for watching. Join me again next time and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages.
Man, you've got to be anything. You should be everything. Strength provider, the architect of every ring. Experience Daniel, see the face of God and live.
I pray to God for my enemy. When you're ready, baby, when I baby. Insta baby, Insta baby, Insta baby. Why you lying? Shake what your mama gave ya. Everybody move what your mama gave ya. Everybody shake what your mama gave ya. Everybody move, yeah, lost the fact.
You are now watching the V10 Countdown.
Time now for Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from our social media pages. Student bodies NANSO and SUN have come out against the exposing of student loan defaulters by the Namibia Student Financial Assistance Fund, stating that the action thereof is an intimidation tactic by the fund and in breach of privacy. The student leaders further call on the fund to take heed of the head of state's call that no student should graduate in debt. Naitsue says she agrees that the employed beneficiaries pay back the money and that government and the private sector look into the matter with the unemployed. While Helmut wants to know whether NSFAF wants to use the money to make up for the millions lost. And despite the good rains received recently, farmers in the Omaheke region are battling with a poisonous plant commonly known as poison leaf that is killing their livestock once ingested. The plant is also found in the Jupa and parts of the Kavango region. Philo asks why we still have this problem in the country while there are so many scientists, graduates in Namibia. Erastus noted that the cattle must drink a lot of water after eating the plant, while Domingo says there's plenty of that plant in the region. And that's all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comment on our social media pages for broadcast every day, only on Today on 1.
Are you a CMAS member? Did you know that should you need medical treatment, you have access to quality private hospitalization, guaranteed specialist treatment in private hospitals across Namibia with Compliment Gap? Compliment Gap is a complimentary product for CMAS members only, which covers the shortfall between what CMAS pays and private hospitals charge. You and your family have more than 2 million in medical gap cover per year at a very affordable price. That's not all. You also have access to emergency evacuation within Namibia and $10 million international travel cover for those unforeseen events abroad. Take the financial burden off your shoulders, invest in your family's health. SMS GAP to 999 555 and we'll contact you. Terms and conditions apply.
Oranjemund, established in 1936, from which point onwards CDM, now Namdeb Diamond Corporation, provided every service, the schooling, infrastructure and entertainment required for the people of the town. The winds of change is blowing over Oranjemund, which is no longer a closed town.
This ship was commandeered by King Charles III, and he actually sent a knight to Spain to go and fetch some money from investors, because they wanted to go and fetch some spices in India.
When we were kids, the mine delivered milk, bread, and black paper, black plastic bags for your rubbish, and cleaned your garden, did the maintenance of your house. You had furniture already installed in your house.
Thank you, One Africa TV, for changing lives and improving lives for the better. Happy 18th birthday.
Up next is Castro Lumbu with the sports update.
Welcome to a brand new week of Sports on One. I am your host, Castro Lumbu. The Namibia Football Association hosted a grassroots coaching course in Windhoek and Walvis Bay aimed at educating teachers, aspiring teachers, and new coaches on promoting unity and fun in the game of football. Today on One Sports has more on this story. Special focus was put on training academy coaches and school teachers from different primary schools and to exchange and share positive values while promoting fun in playing football. It also equipped the coaches with the core competences to work with children by working on their physical, mental, emotional, and growth characteristics. The coaches were working with junior footballers from schools across Walvis Bay from the age of 6 to 12 years. Coaches and instructors who were part of the program emphasized the growing importance of grassroots initiatives.
This is a grassroots coaching course. This is basically the simplest form of educating teachers and inspiring coaches on the start of educating and coaching kids the game of football. The grassroots education program is a national thing. It gets taken all over the country. For me, it's my first time to be here as an instructor. The main idea here was to educate the future coaches. The kids we brought in for the practical sessions, which gave the coaches the opportunity to take what we've learned in class and put it in practical. This is the lowest level, the first level, just to get the young kids involved and how to work with kids, how to educate kids on football, using life skills and social skills also as a tool, using football as a tool to teach life skills and social skills to the kids, and just giving the kids a general opportunity to play football.
The aim is to bring along as many children as possible so that we can equip them with the necessary skills, and they learn to be disciplined as well. They learn a lot of things. They enjoy the game as well, and it's really heartwarming to see the joy on the learners' faces. They enjoy being here, they enjoy kicking a ball, and that is what we want to emphasize and teach these learners. And throughout this week, I've also learned more about teamwork. I've learned more about soccer. I think this is a very good initiative, and it should be continued, and we should empower more teacher coaches. We should bring in the parents as well, and just develop soccer as a sport, starting from the grassroots, as we are doing here. I think it's really wonderful.
We were present with great personalities, good coaches with A licenses. We had Coach Lucky Sipanga, Gerald Guter, Colin Benjamin, Coach Danke Punjwa, and the technical director, Mashipanga. So we had a lot of information we received from people that have experience. So we learned a lot, and we have a lot of information that we received that we can give back to the community or to the grassroots football. Basically, we were introduced to the structures of football, or FIFA, what FIFA wants to do, or the program that they want to launch, the grassroots football. So we were explained what's the idea, what's the mission of FIFA, and the different personalities in persons in FIFA. So yeah, we received a lot of information, as I said.
The program is financially supported by Global United FC and the Friedrich Naumann Foundation. Course instructors included Colin Benjamin and Jackie Shipanga. The course started in Windhoek last month. And that is all we had for you tonight. Join us again tomorrow for Sports on One, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages.
Thanks, Castro, for that update. Up next is the weather forecast.
A look at the weather forecast. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and hot in the extreme far north and northeast, with a few thunder showers, elsewhere sunny and hot. The coast partly cloudy and mild, and the wind moderate to fresh southwesterly. Now a look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
And that's all we have for you. Do join us again for a repeat at 9:30 this evening, 6 a.m. and the Omnibus Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Till next time, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
A decade might seem short, but being consistent for over 3,650 days is an accomplishment we are proud of. As the Communications Regulatory Authority of Namibia, we have committed ourselves to being the trusted source that regulates telecommunication services and networks, including broadcasting, postal services, and the allocation of radio spectrum. Welcome to our world. Since its inception, CRAN has issued 58 telecommunication service licenses, 14 community radio service licenses, 1 signal distributor, and 20 commercial broadcasting service licenses, providing a wide range of services throughout Namibia. CRAN established a solid regulatory framework for digital terrestrial television channel transition and developed a comprehensive frequency division scheme, which other SADC regulators used as standard. SADC adopted a financial model developed by CRAN to fund the communication regulators of Southern Africa's 5-year strategic plan.
CRAN regulates the provision of postal services, telecommunication services, as well as broadcasting in terms of radio and television. We are also responsible for the allocation of radio spectrum, which is utilized for the provision of broadcasting and telecommunication services.
The model is used as the basis for determining the annual fee for each SADC member country. And more recently, CRAN established the regulatory framework for digital audio broadcasting, paving the way for broadcast access to a digital world. CRAN hit another milestone when it reached 120% mobile penetration rate in the country. This was achieved by CRAN establishing regulatory frameworks to create an environment that promotes fair competition, as evidenced by the termination rate in Namibia dropping from 1.06 cents to 0.10 cents for mobile and fixed operators from January 2009 to October 2016. In addition, CRAN has also facilitated the expansion and digitization of ICT infrastructure and introduced a 4th generation technology to the country. And with CRAN finalizing the numbering scheme and portability regulatory framework for Namibia, once implemented, consumers will be able to easily switch between networks.
In the last 10 years, the convergence between the IT world and the telecommunications world, especially now with the advent of our new emergency technologies, which is not only 5G. We also have your high altitude platforms, we have satellite, we have internet, and it's all converging into one line, followed by digital broadcasting.
We can attribute our success to a very passionate and dedicated team. We've put all the regulations in place, we can move forward, and we can provide the nation with affordable prices, quality of service, and all the benefits that ICT brings.
The Child Online Protection Campaign provided information on how, why, and what to do in instances where children's rights and safety are violated. The campaign provided information for parents and guardians on how to protect their children from cyberbullying and provided general information on how to protect their children online. The consumer education campaign Own It, the Right to Connect, was intended to empower, inform, and engage consumers and to make them aware of the rights, responsibilities, and obligations of consumers. Whereas the Consumer is King campaign aimed to raise awareness about the consumer complaint procedure. CRAN mission, media, law, and educate potential stakeholders about the license application procedures. Another landmark achievement was the agreement signed in July 2020, which resulted in the successful conclusion of CRAN and the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding with the Namibia Civil Aviation Authority that authorizes regulations and the governing relationship between the two entities regarding all communications in flight, during approach, during landing, and takeoff of an aircraft in the Namibian sky. CRAN also signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Customs and Taxation to ensure that all telecommunications equipment imported into the country meets the minimum quality standards required. Similarly, the signing of the Performance and Governance Agreement in October 2020 between the Board of Directors of CRAN and the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology plays a role and is an instrument through which the government of the Republic of Namibia holds public officials accountable for the conditions enumerated in the agreement whilst enabling the relationship to continue. Over the past 10 years, CRAN has complied with all statutory requirements, including submitting annual reports and budgets to the Line Minister. The COVID-19 pandemic is putting a strain on educational institutions, especially to provide access to digital resources to enable learners to be educated through online platforms. In 2020, the demand for access to information has increased as it has become a major issue in health, education, and communication-related issues. There is an ever-growing need for the ICT sector to create easier, cheaper, and higher quality access to ICT products and services to allow e-learning, information dissemination, and connecting people who could not be met face-to-face. Therefore, CRAN has worked to adapt policies and regulations to respond to the demand. CRAN has launched various partnerships with higher education institutions to build skills and capabilities in ICT policy, regulation, and management. CRAN won 2 awards in 2017. The first award was for the company that employs the most student interns in the country and was awarded by the Institute of People Management. The second award was the Golden Key Award, the most open and transparent public institution with universal access to information. It was awarded by the Southern African Media Institute. Here's to another 10 years of striving to give Namibians the best.
It was truly a day of celebration. United Nations Namibia commemorated the organization's 75th anniversary on Saturday the 24th of October 2020 in the town of Okahandja's Vryfront community at the Ileni Tulukwafeni Center under the theme The Future We Want, the UN We Need. Ileni Tulukwafeni was selected as the venue for the celebrations as it is a beacon of hope for the residents. It's a community-based organization working for a better tomorrow locally. Founded by the people of Vryfront Camp in 2003, the organization promotes social, environmental, and financial stability in Vryfront Camp amongst women. Currently, the kids that are enrolled at the center's kindergarten number 53. The total number of children coming to the soup kitchen varies, but there are approximately 1,000 youngsters per day. Lunch is provided 3 times a week to orphans and vulnerable children, a church youth group, as well as out-of-school and school-going youth. Senior citizens and people living with disability also receive meals once a month, and donated food parcels are provided to HIV and TB patients. According to the latest statistics, the Vryfront informal settlement has approximately 20,000 inhabitants, whereas the households are 10,000. Home-based care meetings and adult education is also offered.
The UN Namibia at 30 exhibition provided insight into the role of the United Nations toward Namibia's independence, including the Sustainable Development Goals that are at the heart of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015. It provides a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet that we live on. The goals recognize that ending poverty and other deprivations must go hand in hand with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, and spur economic growth, all while tackling climate change and working to preserve oceans and forests. As part of the global commemoration, the Secretary-General launched the UN 75 initiative for people the world over, including Namibians, to share their thoughts around current and emerging global trends and to have a conversation with as many people as possible to spark ideas for building the future we want, with emphasis on the youth. Invited guests at the event, including VIPs and media, observed the necessary COVID-19 pandemic safety guidelines as they gathered for a day of reflection, celebration, and hope for a better tomorrow in light of the challenges faced by the world at large. Anthea Basson, head of the United Nations Information Center, opened the proceedings with background information to the event and functions of the United Nations.
This year marks the organization's 75th anniversary. This milestone is a critical moment to shape our future together. Today we celebrate the noble aspirations of the United Nations, that the nations of the world commit to resolve their differences peacefully, to promote dignity and human rights, to foster social and economic development, to protect our environment, and to provide humanitarian aid in case of famine, natural disaster, and armed conflict. Here in Namibia, the nature of the work of the United Nations has evolved since independence. Over the 30-year period, our partnership and friendship with Namibia has grown in strength and in quality. Through our trusted relationship, we have made valuable contributions to the unprecedented development progress achieved in this country. In the coming years, we remain committed to support the government and the people of Namibia to find new solutions to development challenges the country is facing. As has been the case on countless occasions since the creations in 1945, the convening power of the United Nations will continue to be critical for global exchanges of ideas and for seeking peaceful solutions for crises the world is facing. It is therefore very fitting that we gather here today to celebrate the UN's vision of peace, international solidarity in 5 rand.
Delivering the keynote address on behalf of the Honorable Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Honorable Jenny Matundu, Deputy Minister of the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation, reflected on Namibia's stance on the Sustainable Development Goals.
The country's 2018 reporting on the implementation process of the SDGs at national level led to Namibia being awarded a Commonwealth Award for Excellence in SDGs implementation in Malta in July 2019. The award was given because Namibia was among the 13 UN member states which have domesticated the SDGs. Furthermore, Namibia has aligned her national development plan with the SDGs. Going forward, Namibia is preparing herself for the second VNR reporting expected in July 2021. I am delighted to note that a book entitled Fritta and the SDGs will be handed over to the 5 Rand Camp Community Center during this auspicious event. This book will undoubtedly create more awareness on the SDGs within a community of favorants, especially to the children.
Mr. Senpang, UN Namibia Resident Coordinator, reiterated the importance of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals.
Namibia is on track in terms of attaining the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. But without a doubt, the COVID-19 pandemic threatens to reverse the gains already made. For example, in reducing poverty, hunger, and inequality. Excellencies, on this special UN 75 occasion, I would like to introduce the children of the Five Rand community to the story of Frida, this little girl. This is a Namibian girl who is taking every child on a journey to better understand the SDGs. This story has been translated and exported to all parts of the world, where Frida continues to champion the ideals of the SDGs for people, planet, and prosperity. In closing, it gives me great pleasure to hand this book to the children of this community. Through this donation, we want Namibian children to learn more, to learn how to contribute to the aims of the SDGs, nurture a love for reading, and enjoy it as a constructive way of spending their time. Excellencies, we must ensure that all our efforts to recover from the pandemic are fully aligned with the implementation of the SDGs. If we are to uphold our pledge to leave no one behind, we must redouble our efforts in our response to the COVID-19 pandemic, with particular attention to the needs of the most vulnerable and that of women and children. For the United Nations at 75, it is imperative that we aspire with great resolve to contribute and maintain the United Nations for the people, by the people.
Ms. Kauna Power Hangula, project manager of the Ileni Tulikwafeni Center, received the UN's donations of over 100 copies of the children's storybook, Frida and the Sustainable Development Goals, specifically to nurture a culture of reading among children in the community and to learn more about the SDGs. Youngsters from the Fairfront Primary School entertained the guests with local dances and songs, which was a highlight for the participants. The launch of the UN 75 song, Better Tomorrow, was a celebration of collaboration and the spirit of Ubuntu. The song brings together upcoming Namibian artists along with established award-winning headline artists to share their art and talent to inspire Namibia and the world with a song which holds a universal message, coming together for a better tomorrow. The musical project included the likes of established Namibian artists like Susie Aces, Lionist, and current reigning male artist of the year for the Namas, KB Illist, as well as a platform for upcoming young stars She Can't Go, Harry Rieder, and Prophecy. Established DJ Shoza also worked on the project. A household name in production, and established artist J.O. was the creative producer behind this exciting musical project. The song Better Tomorrow is a call to action for Namibians and for people around the world